In this video, we're going to be taking a look at AI LEGO builds and discussing the implications, what it means for the LEGO building community, and whether we think these could be any good, how to tell the difference, and do they help with LEGO building. We'll be looking at the Brick Nerd page on artificial intelligence, starting with this photo right here. This was a photo generated with AI trained on medieval LEGO sets and LEGO mocks, and as we can see, it actually looks quite good. Of course, it can't get the LEGO logo or the text right, so it's pretty easy to tell the difference when given a box, but the actual set does a very good job of capturing the LEGO style and almost looks semi-realistic. Of course, a lot of this geometry could never be achieved with real LEGO, and a lot of these parts don't exist in brick form, which means it's pretty easy to tell the difference at this stage, but rumor has it that AI models are learning to use real LEGO bricks to build their digital models, which means that this could all be rapidly changing in the future. But for now, as we can see, it's done a pretty good job. We've got this nice cabin raised up upon a stone base, which seems semi-realistic when compared to normal models. And we can also see how the box image matches the actual set, meaning that it's done a good job of consistency within the image. As we can see, this page is mostly medieval fantasy LEGO, which I think is a good starting point to discuss AI. As we can see, all it can really be used for is looking at the style of LEGO and perhaps compositions for a design. As we can see, the box art does not always match the set because AI is often inconsistent, but generally it does a pretty good job. I think any of these could be turned into real LEGO builds and they would all be quite good in the end, even if it would be very hard to achieve some of the stuff that it has done here. We can see that AI does not really care what bricks it uses, it just wants the shapes to vaguely resemble LEGO. And the same goes for the minifigures, where we've got this one knight impaled by a sword, which could never be a real LEGO set or build. Moving down to this one, we have a 3-tiered castle. I think this one is my favorite AI build that we've seen so far. And while the box does kind of remind me of those fake LEGO sets that you sometimes see, the actual build is pretty good. We can see that traditional black base that a lot of designers use. We can also see the smoke pieces here vaguely resemble the LEGO smoke style and the LEGO bricks, and I think a lot of inspiration can be taken from these builds, but of course the main feat achieved with LEGO as an art form is being able to integrate parts into these complex shapes, which of course the AI completely cheats at by circumventing the LEGO system. These two side-by-side images show the process of using AI reference to create a LEGO model, and I think this one showcases what a good job this can do. We're starting with an AI reference on the left of some steampunk ship and using it as inspiration for a LEGO build on the right, and as we can see, it's pretty similar with a lot of resemblance between them. I think here in this case though, all credit still goes to the mock builder, and using it as a reference does not mean that you've infringed your creativity, but instead have just gained experience from a lot of builds combined into one with the power of AI. Here is the finished model in the end, and as we can see, it looks completely different from AI generated LEGO models as opposed to an AI inspired LEGO model, which I think is perfectly fine and still sticks to the principles of real LEGO, because the builder had to find the pieces to create the shapes. Here we have two knockoff World of Warcraft sets, and as we can see, the same thing has been achieved. It cheats to get the style, but doesn't actually achieve the look properly because of the lack of LEGO compatible parts and the lack of genuine detail that you might see in a LEGO build. I think it's very easy to tell the difference because of this, and that's why I don't think it's going to be much of a threat now or in the future, even if it can provide some cool references and some cool sets. This, for example, is a pretty cool LEGO fantasy set right here, and I'd be happy if LEGO made this into a real set. Of course, the warped roof takes more inspiration from real roofs than LEGO roofs, because that would be quite difficult to achieve with these straight rectangular Lego pieces, but I think it still does a good job of capturing the style and aesthetic of a build. The same goes over here with a ogre looking semi-constructible out of Lego, even if a lot of the pieces are off. You can see how some of these pieces are starting to resemble actual Lego pieces, such as those windshield pieces here, or even cheese slopes on the head. I think as AI improves, it's going to increasingly be able to replicate the shape of real Lego bricks and may become a bit of a threat in determining the difference between real and AI Lego builds, but I think we're safe for now. Moving on to some steampunk ships. Let's see if we can tell the difference between AI and real. I'm going to guess that these are both AI because that base looks very suspicious, especially with the high grain and artifacts that you probably wouldn't see in a normal image. And also this strange flying thing that is definitely not Lego. On the right, what gives it away are these large paneling pieces which do not exist, and this strange circular element which I've never seen before. A lot of the elements look like ones that could probably exist but are just a little bit too strange, and a lot of them are different materials such as glass, which Lego never uses. Here is a Dungeons and Dragons, what looks like a dice tower, and I think the AI actually does a pretty good job here. Of course, the staircase looks very cursed and crooked, which is what you can expect from AI, especially in the early days, seeing as this article was from July 2023. I think in time it'll continue to get better, and we can see this with these images here. The roofs here actually look as if they were constructed out of Lego bricks, and what gave it away for me were the lamps. If the lamps hadn't been there, I easily could have mistaken this for real Lego, even if it isn't a particularly complex build. The same can be said for these other two builds. They all look pretty similar, and they all look pretty realistic, even if the boxes are off and the lamps are completely off. The article states Lego enthusiasts should remember that the heart of Lego building is not solely about the end result, but the joy, satisfaction, and personal growth that comes from the creative process and the difficulties itself. Of course, this really encapsulates what I've been saying here. These AIs can be used as a tool to get inspiration or help shape an idea, but I think if you're going to use them to replace the building process, all you're doing is cutting yourself out of the enjoyment of overcoming the difficulties of putting pieces together to create something greater. If you submit this as your final mock, or you're happy with an image straight out of AI as your project, I think that really just takes away the enjoyment of being able to achieve builds like this on your own with real Lego bricks. Of course, this is completely different from digital designer programs such as Bricklink Studio, which still have the limitations of normal Lego bricks, apart from some of the physical characteristics. That's all for this video. If you have anything to say about this topic, please let me know in the comments, or anything else you'd like to hear my opinion on. Apart from that, make sure to like and subscribe. My merch store, Yellow Lining, is now up and running, and I would love if you went and had a look at it. I'm offering free shipping on orders over, I believe it's $75, but make sure you check before you pay. But thank you, it goes a lot to support the channel, and if you have any ideas for any other merch, I'd be happy to put them into action and help get the community involved.